In this video, we're going to talk about Fisker Inc., ticker symbol FSR, guys. So this stock is kind of a newly traded stock, actually. It just went public via a SPAC, so Special Purpose Acquisition Company. And when I was looking at the stock, I've been watching this stock for a while. As you can see here, I'm on Robinhood right now. And we're taking a look at the stock price. So basically, once the stock changed into the ticker symbol FSR, it started at around $10 or so. And so far, it's doing quite well. So it's actually up 22% this past month, trading around $17. And I've been looking at some of the comments you guys left on some of my previous videos, you guys saying you're buying Fisker stock. And I've been eyeballing this stock too. So I decided, let's do a review on this stock, talk a little bit about where I think the price is going in the future and whether or not you should buy the stock. So before I get into this video, guys, please smash the like button. It really helps a ton. So let's get into it right now. Okay, so first things first, let's head over to the Fisker website. So here we are at Fisker Inc. That's fiskerinc.com. And as you can see here, the main flagship vehicle that they plan to produce is called the Ocean. So as you can see here, guys, I'm just scrolling down so you guys can take a look at it. Pretty sweet looking SUV. Now it's starting at a price, if you can see it, it's kind of hard to see on this website, but it's starting at $37,499, which is a pretty decent price SUV. And, looking at this car, it looks pretty nice. It looks like it can handle some off-road terrain. You can take it through the city, of course, and it's probably more suited as a family type vehicle. It comfortably seats 5 adults, and overall it's a pretty nice looking vehicle. But the interesting thing about Fisker is not just the car, but actually the man behind Fisker. So I want to talk a little bit more about the founder and why I think that Fisker could be an excellent opportunity based on one of the main wealth building principles that I've seen a lot in really successful people. So let's talk a little bit more about the founder of Fisker, Henrik Fisker himself. Okay, so here's the man behind the name Fisker. His name is Henrik Fisker. So guys, this guy is a pretty legendary designer when it comes to futuristic cars. As you can see here, the company started in 2016, and he's an American by nationality, but he's actually from Denmark. And, he's been designing cars for quite some time. Now, the interesting thing about his story is that he actually first started a car company back in 2011 to try to compete with Tesla. And the car was called the Fisker Karma. It was the world's first luxury plug-in hybrid, right? So, one of the problems is that he didn't really have a great business model, and I think he only sold like 2,000 of these cars. And this was right at the same time that Tesla was moving forward, and guys like Elon Musk were planning. So basically, Tesla just crushed him, and now, as you can say, Tesla, iconic company. So this guy basically went bankrupt. He basically lost everything, lost everything he had. Basically, put his life savings to this type of company. So now he's redoing it again. So why I think it's really interesting is that I think that since this guy, tried to start a business, failed in the past, I think that now he's more motivated than ever, and most importantly, he's not afraid of failure anyway, because he already went bankrupt. So as you can see here, it says Fisker is a born-again version of Fisker Automotive, which went bankrupt in 2014 after selling just 2,000 of its luxury Fisker electric cars. The founder, Henrik Fisker, hopes a second attempt, the Fisker Ocean SUV, will have more success when it launches, guys. So this is a really important thing. This guy, he's much older now, he's more mature, and he's already had a failed company. So obviously, doing things the second time, he's probably more likely to succeed simply because the fear factor isn't there. But now he has the experience to make sure he doesn't make the same mistakes that he made in the first attempt. So that's really, really nice. But let's not just talk about, the mental side of things. Let's actually talk some numbers. So while the company just basically went public, they haven't released an earnings release right yet. So we really don't have any numbers on how much money they're bringing in. Well, they're really not bringing in any money because this is just a concept car, but there are pre-orders. So I think when I mentioned earlier in my video about Solo, pre-orders are really important because when you're not really delivering cars, pre-orders show that there's demand for your vehicle. So when you've got people patiently awaiting to get the product in their hands to start driving it and things like that, that can kind of send a ripple effect, a word of mouth effect. Oh, people say, oh, this is an awesome car, I want to get one too. And we've seen the success that Tesla's had. They have hundreds of thousands of pre-orders for their Cybertruck. So while now this company does not have nearly as many pre-orders as the Tesla Cybertruck, I was doing some digging and I found an article on CNET that says the company has just 7,000 reservations. So obviously that's not nearly as many as the Cybertruck, but remember now that Tesla has been producing cars for some time now, and they already have a fanatic built-in audience, but 7,000 is pretty solid. So remember now, this car was selling at around, I believe it was $37,000. So if I just do some quick math, we just do 7,000 times $37,500. That means that the pre-order value, according to this article, according to these sources, is just over $260 million, guys. So, you know, pretty solid right there. And there's some baked-in revenue that should be coming in. But the downside is that they're not going to start producing these cars until 2022. So we're going to have to wait. So where do I think the stock is going in the short run? Well, you know, actually, I was taking a look on Robinhood, and I've noticed that a lot of times the market cap is incorrect on Robinhood. So actually, I've done some digging. I've looked at multiple sources, and apparently the market cap is actually closer to $4 billion. So this is basically trading at around a $4 billion company with just over $260 million of pre-order revenue that's kind of baked in. So people are basically buying it now, you know, trying to get in early, assuming that the company is going to catch on. So here's my personal take on it, guys. Remember, it IPO'd just around $10, so it's up to $17 now. What is going to happen in 2021, I think, is very, very important, because the company does also have two other vehicles. As I showed in this article, it has actually two other vehicles that are planned as well. So as you can see, it says 3 new EVs by 2025. So here they are. Of course, the Ocean is coming in 2022, and then they have these other 2 luxury vehicles baked. So what to do right now? Well, this is definitely you're going to have to be very patient with this stock, because there isn't going to be really any deliveries for almost 2 years. So 2022, we're not exactly sure when, but that is quite some time off. So if you're trading this stock, you know, most of these electric car stocks have been moving up right now. You can definitely trade some options on Robinhood. I'm going to make some more videos in the future, show you guys how to trade options, even if you have a small account. But I would say that this is definitely a very, very long-term hold. And, you know, I like this guy. You know, I like people that, you know, when they fail, they dust themselves off and they try again. You know, the key to success is to never give up. And I think that this second time around, I think before, when he tried to do things in 2011, it was a hybrid car. He just didn't have the expertise to run his own company, comparison to Tesla, which Tesla just had a much better and much more long-term mindset. So the fact that his company is starting again, he's making the car electric this time, not using the hybrid model, and the fact that he raised the money through a SPAC and is giving himself plenty of time to design this car, I don't see why it won't be a hit. You know, perhaps we could compare this. This is definitely a more flashy looking type of vehicle. So I would say you could compare it more so like Fisker would be something like Lexus or Mercedes. That's what I'm trying to think of when I think in terms of the type of vehicles they're designing. They're not really like Tesla. Tesla's a little bit different, but this is kind of a luxury, really nice looking design car with a lot of different features. So what is my price prediction on the stock? Well, at a $4 billion market cap, we've seen stocks like NIO run to $60 billion. You got Xiaoping, that market cap is around $30 to $40 billion. You've got, of course, Tesla sitting at a $400 billion market cap. So right now, Tesla is, according to market cap, is 100 times more valuable than Fisker. Is that going to stay like that long term? Probably not. So this is an opportunity to kind of get into this stock on the ground floor. I like the potential of this company. I wish I had just bought it when it was $10, because I read the guy's story and I really thought that, you know, I'm rooting for this guy. You know, anytime someone goes fully bankrupt, loses everything to Tesla, I'm rooting for you the second time around. So now let's take a quick look at some technical analysis and then wrap things up on this video. So as we can see here, we're taking a look here. Like I said, guys, we're going to continue using that 20-day moving average. So the stock crossed over the 20-day moving average on November 6th. So that was a nice signal to buy. But we're still sitting at some resistance right here. So like I said, this is a very, very early stage company. $4 billion is a really minuscule market cap for any electric car company. especially one that's going to be producing these types of luxury vehicles with 7,000 pre-orders. So I would say this is a nice stock to take a position in and forget about it for a year or two. You want to be careful though, because you make sure that if you're buying this stock for the long run, you're not getting impatient. I've made this mistake time and time again, selling stocks when you're just making a couple of gains, so you buy it at 17 and it goes to 20 and you take some profits off, and then next thing you know, you come back a year or two later and the stock's trading at $100, $200. So just make sure if you're really in this for the long run and you do take some quick profits that you're buying back into this. You don't forget, because this company looks like it's going to do pretty swell. Things look good, everything looks nice. And I think there's plenty of space for all of these electric car companies. It's not so much which one is going to do the best. It's like a rising tide lifts all boats. So all of these guys, Fisker, Xiaoping, which is Xpeng, Tesla, NIO, Li Auto, Solo, BDY, all of these companies are going to make money hand over fist because they're focused on electric vehicles, where companies like Ford, GM, Hyundai, they're not really focused on it. They're still producing gas guzzlers. So I would give the upper advantage to Fisker. I think it's going to be probably a pretty well-known name. It's short, it's easy to remember, and I'm rooting for this guy. So I think the stock is a pretty strong buy. For you guys that bought it before it got to $17, I would say just basically forget about it for a while. Hold on to it. At $4 billion market cap. Let's say they launched their first vehicle in the beginning at let's say midway through 2022. Obviously the stock's going to run up a lot more. And you can trade options on this as well. There's two ways you can do it. Right now, the stock is kind of approaching resistance, so you could trade maybe some call options if it breaks out towards $18, or you could buy some long-term calls. So if you take a look here, we just head over to Robinhood and take a look at the options chain. So we can take a look at the options chain here. So one of the strategies that I've been doing with stocks like these electric vehicle stocks is I've been looking at them over the weekly basis. So I don't look at it day to day because it's too volatile. So when we take a look back here, one of the things I like about TradingView is that I can simply change this. There's a D here. So if I click the D, it's like the time frame. So all I do is I go down here, I click it to 1. Okay, so one of the reasons I like using TradingView is I like to break things down in a weekly trends, and I also do this on Webull. So when you're trading options, options contracts are weekly, right? So the expiration date is basically always a week in advance. So that's why I like to look at weekly options. So as we can see here, the volume's been trending up at 21 million the first week, then 118 million, and 21 million, then 69 million, and then 118 million. So the volume is steadily going up on this stock, and volume is really what drives stock prices. So you won't see a stock move much if there's no volume. So I think that this is definitely a decent options play. So if I were to play this, I would you could take a look at these November 20 contracts, or if you want to think a little bit longer term and you think that the stock is really going to take off, then you can buy these long-term calls. But let's look at this, the next week's expiration. So you got some nice calls here. Me personally, I've done really well buying calls basically in the money. Now I know you can make a lot of money if you bought this call here and it ends up closer into the money, but just me personally, I've just done better buying calls either in the money or very near the money. So if you were to buy this call here, for example, and assuming that the stock volume is going to continue to go up, and it looks like that's what's heading into next week, you could potentially make some profits with this. And one of the nice things about this is that this call is only about $135. So, it's $1. One contract is worth 100 shares. So you would only have to spend about $135 for this call, and looking at the charts volume, that's saying that the volume is continuing to go up and the stock price is moving up as well. I think there's a potential to make some profits there. So that's how I would personally trade it. For you guys that are super speculative, you can try some of these, but I prefer buying calls either in the money or very close to in the money. It's just you're more guaranteed to turn a profit. The majority of options contracts do end up worthless, so you got to be really careful when you're trading these guys. It's better to buy something in the money and be able to sell it at a smaller profit than to bet a bunch of money on some of these basically lottery ticket options, and then perhaps some bad news comes out next week, or this whole sector as a whole kind of gets sold off, and then your options aren't basically going to aspire worthless. So that's my take on this, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video on Fisker. Really interesting company, and I'm going to be sure to cover this company more in the future. We got a long time until those deliveries come for the Fisker Ocean. So right now, I would say you can play the stock buying options, or if you're really long-term thinker, if you like to think 2-5 years ahead, go ahead and buy a position now and just forget about it. Let it sit there for a year or two, and I'm pretty sure you're going to be pretty impressed with the type of returns you can get when you buy quality stocks and forget about them, guys. Probably the easiest, most simplest, stress-free way to invest. Buy and hold forever. So that's it until next time, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. So if you guys enjoy my content, please smash the red subscribe button. I like to cover electric cars, stocks, and all of the futuristic trends that are headed into this decade, guys. My goal is to help you make money. And if you're not already a millionaire, my goal is to help make you a millionaire for this decade. So hope you come along for the journey with me as well. That's my goal too. So that's it until next time, guys. Take care.